This is the 22nd season of Bass Talk Live. BTL is presented by Bass Cat Boats, Strike King Lures, AFTCO, Pro Guide Batteries, SPRO, Gamakatsu, The Bass Tank, Beatdown Outdoors, and Sunline.
BTL coming at you.
Good morning and welcome to another exciting edition of BTL Bass Talk Live, where we're going to talk about bass fishing. I've said this already like 3 times this year. I'm like, holy cow, what a week it was in professional bass fishing. And it was another absolute banger on the water. You have Takahiro Omori, who's on the short list for the 2026 Bass Fishing Hall of Fame. Gets his first BPT, like regular tour win. Doesn't turn on the black box. Goes up shallow. 36-6 on the final day to win on Lake Hartwell. Beats out Jacob Walker in the last couple minutes. Then over on Sam Rayburn, I was competing in that event. 211 guys launched for the first stop of Division II of the Bassmaster Opens. Top 50 make the EQs. And I just put a recap video out. Yes, after 4 years of not recording any of my on-the-water adventures, you guys can pick apart all my very poor decisions on my way to a 73rd place finish. But those fish moved, and they moved fast, and the big ones moved up, and Pake South found them, and found them often. So did a number of other guys. Andrew Benke had like almost a 12-pounder on the last day, cranked him up, actually have him on BTL tomorrow live to talk about I think he set his personal best like 3 or 4 times that day, ended up finishing 3rd in that. But Scott Martin a couple years ago on Okeechobee on his home water hit that 90-pound mark, set the 3-day weight record. Pake South blew this thing out of the water. He had 96.15 for 3 days. Incredible live coverage from Bassmaster. Multiple 10-pounders caught on camera for the event, and he blows it out of the water. Now, a week before that, while I was at Rayburn practicing, Fisher and Naya, another young rope hat wearing gentleman, rookie on the Bassmaster Elite Series, goes to Lake Martin and dominates Lake Martin using a butt seat and an interesting bait. The same bait, but a different size that Pake South used. I've actually had an entire show. It's called like the changing landscape of professional bass fishing and tournament bass fishing. And we've talked about the old school mentality of keeping things close to your vest. This is your livelihood. This is your living. This is how you make a living. And if you can get an edge over somebody else, you keep that close to your vest. I was just talking with our 2 guests beforehand, like Terry Scroggins, he was drop shotting in Florida for a long time. So was Aaron Martins, and on the California Delta. And you talk about the big swim baits and there was a Watson, and some of those guys were able to keep that whopper plopper a little bit close to their vest until they won some tournaments on it. The spoon jacking thing, the Cinco. There's a number of baits, and it's out for a year or 2 years. Think of the chatterbait. Think of what Brian Thrift was able to do with the chatterbait back in the mid 2000s when he was winning all the Ever Starts. Look at what Brett Hite did with the chatterbait. You have a window where you've got a special bait. Think of Rojas with the SPRO frog. And when the conditions align, you can kind of dominate on it. And then maybe you don't divulge 100% how it went down to the media because you were going out on the water, 100+ thousand acre fishery for 8 hours by yourself. Maybe a photographer on the last day. But if that's a James Overstreet or a Sego, you're like, hey, man, that 8-pounder with that bait hanging out of his mouth, why don't we leave that one out of the gallery and I'll buy you a steak later tonight. I mean, that's how it used to go down. And that's how these guys were able to keep kind of baits under their vest for a couple years. But in 2026, we have live streaming. We have social media. We have instant access to where it is dang near impossible to keep a new bait hidden for very long. And that leads us to our show today. Now, if you've watched BTL for the past year, you'll notice I had 2 baits that set right here, just like this. You can go back and you can look at the shows right there as a novelty, basically for 6 to 8 months. And then a couple months ago, they magically disappeared off of that shelf. That's because they went into the boat, because there was talking behind the scenes a little bit on like, hey, have you been throwing that? I'm like, no, but I've got them. I got them at Hartwell at a media event a year ago. They're sitting on my, so they disappeared. And this style of bait is now responsible for about $160,000 in the last couple of weeks. Fisher Anaya won Lake Martin, and this is a quote. I have to kind of work my way around this. On an unnamed 13 millimeter dice style bait. Then Pake South with 96.15 caught all of his fish on a dice style bait. It was this thing right here. That is the Hideup Coike. There is a debate in the industry right now. Is it called an urchin? Is it called a dice style bait? Who knows what it is? But this is also the beauty of what I do with BTL is I have access to some of the guys behind the scenes, and I know that this company is brought over to the United States. The exclusive distributor of all Hideup products is SPRO. So I shout to my man Syd Rives, who is the sales and marketing manager for SPRO, along with Kazutomo Nakamura, who is the GM for SPRO USA and the president of SPRO Europe. And I said, dude, this has never been hotter. Can I get you guys on? Because I know you know all of the information about this. I know that you know how these came over, about the owner, the designer, Hideo Yoshida for Hideup. I was actually in the boat last year at Hartwell with the guys from Hideup who invented these baits and did not take advantage of it. And they said, well, we're moving and shaking. We're at a meeting right now. And I said, what about Monday morning? And they said, oh no, we can slide you in. So here we are. Kazu, Syd, thanks for jumping on BTL. Cannot appreciate it enough. And we are going to get to the bottom of how this thing ended up in the boats of every 20-year-old in 2026 and is responsible for $250,000 of earnings and is the hottest thing going.
Nice.
Was that a decent introduction, Syd?
That was good. I give it an 8.5 out of 10.
8.5 out of 10. All right.
Yeah.
You guys are handling business. Typically you're in Kennesaw is where you guys live. Is that where you're based out of, Kazu? You're haunting all of the finely cooked meat establishments all across Kennesaw. Big barbecue guy.
Yes. I did, yes.
Yeah, we had a Brazilian steakhouse last night. So a lot of meats went down.
Hey, if you guys are ever in Oklahoma, just down the road at the Grand, there is a place called Flame. If you want to get fancy, you can call it Flama. But it is a Brazilian steakhouse. Dude, it's like $38 a plate. You can get out of there with 12 different cuts of Brazilian steakhouse meat, including lamb and the grilled pineapple and the oysters and the lobster bisque for under $50. It blows Texas Day Brazil out of the water. So when you guys are in Oklahoma, I got you covered at the Brazilian steakhouse.
Let's do it.
All right. Let's start with the history of this thing. If there is anybody who knows more about this than probably Hideo Yoshida, who, first of all, does Hideo speak any English at all, or is he a straight Japanese dude?
No, he just only speaks Japanese.
Okay. Fortunately, you speak Japanese, and you know Hideo. Talk about the relationship of how SPRO became the exclusive distributor of Hideup products in the United States and how those conversations started, kind of when it was. Just give us a timeline of these crazy baits, this company that is known for some outlandish designs. Kazu, floor is yours.
Okay, so SPRO, the Gamakatsu owns SPRO. Then the Hideo Yoshida, he used to be the Gamakatsu Japan bass fishing pro staff and field staff. When we had a relationship with him, then I went to the Japanese fishing taku show in Osaka 2 years ago, and he came with me. Then, I want to sell our product to United States. Do you want to get the distributorship? Then, of course, yes. We are wide open to the distributor brand. So then we started talking about how to sell it or what the product. Then we just carry in those items last year, 2025, in United States and Europe.
So
then
the first
Mr. Yoshida, he was a bass tournamenter in Japan. Then he won the two-time Japanese classic winner.
He's a very respected angler in Japan.
So is that like the same thing that Koya, Fujita, and things have won over there too? Like, did they compete against each other in Japan on that top circuit?
The way before the Kyoya or the Taku Ito's age. He played the tournament 1990s and RE 2000. Okay.
So he comes to you, and does he want to bring the Coike over, the whole Hideup line? Like, their baits are so different looking than anything in the United States. Did you have any hesitation to say, man, I don't know if a dude in Alabama is going to spend $20 on this thing?
Yes. Yeah, the first impression is the same. So then I asked many thousand questions to him, how to use it, so what advantage, blah, 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 blah. Then he told me, this is good for the full-facing sonar. So that is a key point right now. The U.S. tournament is always change, full-facing sonar. So then we think about maybe we can sell in United States.
How long was the Coike in Japan? Is that a bait that they've been throwing for years and years and years? Is it new over there? Is it something that everybody accepts like a Texas rig here in the United States? Or was there even kind of a learning curve for the Japanese anglers when this thing came out? And how long had it been out?
Okay, so the Hideo Yoshida created the Coike back to the 2003 and 4. So almost,
wait. Pause. He created this bait in 2003, like as in like 22 years ago.
Yes. So then that time is all the soft bait made by the PVC material. Then he think about we need more lifelong or the not more durability material soft bait. Then he find out the like elastomer material, then set up this bait. Then he told me like 10 years very hard to sell it because he couldn't find out how to rigging it or how to use it first 10 years. But the live scope came out, everybody thinking about the many style of the rigs and catch a fish. Then around 2015 to 2018, Japanese tournament or the bass fishing people throw the many Coike.
So it was going down over there, Syd.
Yeah, it took place, and it took 10 years for people to really figure out how to use it and how it was used in bass fishing. And the forward facing is the one that really kind of changed.
Okay, Syd, walk me through this. You talk about the elastomer material. When you mess with these things, if you put a weight in it, if you put a hook in it, you're not getting that weight or hook back. It's not like the Z-Man stuff. It's not like stretchy at all. It's like a weird hard rubber. I'm going to pull it up like this. It comes in like a box that you can keep like 3 in one compartment, and then your compartment's filled. I know SPRO and Gamakatsu have really cool boxes that you can rig them with, but walk me through what this material is and what makes this material special and why we don't see other plastics in this material. So
I think what really makes it special is the fact that it's a little harder elastomer. The hardness is part of the secret sauce, let's say, of what makes it good. and what makes the action the right action. We could make this thing softer, and there are softer versions that Hideo has made over the years. And, it has to do with the action. And whenever you pull it, you want it to, come in, but you want it to pop back out. And if it's too soft, it's going to do this. You want it doing this. And that's the key, and that's why it's that harder material. Now, you did say something about, getting stuff back out. I mean, of course, you can take the hook back out of it and, reuse it or whatever. I mean, we do that a lot. We'll switch colors or whatever. And the way we store them is in the 3700 Meho deep boxes, or the Gamakatsu boxes, because they have little grooves in there, and that wire fits in there really nicely so that it keeps it full. And we can put about 6 or 7 in there, depending on the size, like FULLCAST 6, 17s you can fit maybe 8, and 13s you can put a fair amount, and maybe 10 of the 13s in there. What the reason for that is 100% for the action of the bait. That's what Hideo has perfected over the years. The heart.
Which is why that the thing is in a plastic box where every spike is there's a hole through the center, and it sits on there. So, I mean, that there's no way that bait can get lopsided. And
absolutely. And Hideo designed that. Hideo is an inventor. He's a very creative guy. He started this thing from the ground up. These were all his ideas. And I mean, I give it to the man. He did an unbelievable job creating something out of just thin air. I mean, if you think about it, I mean, who would have thought to build something like that?
Yeah. Have either of you talked to him about how he came up with this design? Because it's so outlandish. Like, is it supposed to represent anything in the water? Like, what was the genesis of saying, "Hey, let's make this
what
thing"?
He talking about he told me his imagination came from the fry bowl, like a small bait fish bowl.
Okay.
So then he's always thinking about not the human point of view. He always talking me to I'm always thinking about how to watch the bass point of the view.
So
he's looking at it from the way the fish is looking at it.
Yeah. So I do know this. I know that the first kind of inkling that these might be a game changer. Oh, I said the word, but this truly is, I think, from what we've seen the last couple of weeks, was a 13 millimeter. And we're talking smallmouth bass. We're talking spotted bass. It was predominantly drop shotted up north, out east. And the guys who are really in on this, that's where you also have the true, what I would call dice style baits with the strands of the silicone that go through where you shake it. And some of the guys were using this. But we were still looking at these going, I don't know what the hell to do with it. And we tie it on and we put a weight in it and we let it slowly sink and just kind of barely twitch it and fish it basically like a Cinco and not get much results. Was it how did it go from that to spotted bass to these are completely sold out everywhere too? Was there a learning curve? Because I've never seen baits that based on their size fish so differently. You fish a 3-inch minnow about the way you fish an 8-inch minnow. You fish a small beaver the same way you fish a full-size brush hog. But it seems like these baits are, although the same thing except bigger, you fish them completely differently for a completely different type of fish all across the country.
Yeah, I think the concept, and I think what everybody's kind of missing, and I talked to Hideo a couple of weeks ago at the Osaka show, we're using a lot of forward-facing now in bass fishing. And what makes that bait kind of unique, or very unique, is the fact that you can pop your rod tip. And since that bait has so much resistance and floating power, the bait doesn't move very far. So that bait is in front of that fish for longer than you can keep a minnow or any other bait in front of a fish. So it's almost like, let's say, a suspending jerk bait, for instance. that bait is sitting in front of that fish, and you can pop your rod tip and give it a little bit of that action and then stop it, and it slowly comes back open, and it's just sitting right there in front of them. So I think that's really what has changed about this, is the fact that you can fish it in a small area and not move it away from the fish. Does that make sense?
Yeah, especially right now where we're talking in pre-spawn, cold water, where you have fish that don't really want to chase but are still able to eat it. Now, I will say this. Let's get into the rigging. Let's start with the full cast, and then we'll move down on the way you do it. At Rayburn, I was sitting there getting ready for takeoff. I have boats all around me. I actually have it in my video, like Daryl Gleason had it on, and I said, what a time to be alive. You have Daryl Gleason, who won on a Carolina rig, a deep crank, and a jig on Rayburn a couple years ago. I said, and now he's got a butt seat, and he's got a 17 mil Coike rigged on a spinning rod, and he's about to go out on a lake that he had won on a couple years ago, and now he's live scoping an urchin in open water and shallow water. And we were kind of joking about it. And then he's like, I'm not going to throw it. I just have it up there for moral support. And then he did throwing it. I know if you watch Matt Steffen's video that he just put out, and I was rooming with him, he would come back every night and be like, my God, they react crazy to it. But when you're in there were probably 8 guys in this row that all had them rigged, and they all had them rigged differently. You had some guys on spinning rods, some guys on bait casters, some guys with treble hooks, single hooks. You had weights that were attached to hooks. You had weights that were jammed in the bottom of the bait. You had baits that were hooked in the side, baits that were hooked on the bottom. You had stinger hooks on them. Like, is there a proper way to rig the full cast Coike, or is this still kind of an experimental stage with the way that we're fishing them in the United States now?
So the full cast, I think the biggest mistake some people are making is they're not putting maybe a big enough hook in it. And they're not burying that hook all the way through the bait. I mean, you want that point sticking out past the bend of the hook. If you got it where it can rock back and forth, you're not going to hook a fish. And that's one thing with that harder material, you can kind of form that hook in there, and you want to keep as much of that hook point outside as possible. You can also stick a nail weight in there and fish it that way. But one of the ways that Kazu does is he actually is almost doing like a Jika rig style on there with and he varies his drop shot weight that he puts on there by how fast he wants it to sink. So, you could fish it on the bottom like a jig, or you can, use your forward facing and put a lighter like an 1/8 ounce, or, a light version of that, and fish it mid water column, almost like a mid strolling style fishing.
Yes, because what the Hideup guy told me, so then they are also fishing with mid storing. Mid storing is roaring action is key to get the fish. Okay. Then the Hideup Coike Jika rig version is same things, like this type of the roaring action.
Okay, so this is when you say Jika rig, you're talking about the hook with the weight that is attached to the eye of the hook. So think about a 1-inch drop shot is basically, for the North American guys, what you're working with. I spent way too much money on this. This is like $300 worth of like Coike weights in here that like attached, they clip on. There's some hooks that actually have like a fluorocarbon keeper around that you can click on. There's also hooks that like Gamakatsu has that has like a SPRO swivel that comes down that have weights on them. There's all sorts of these variations to get that kind of Jika rig, but that seems to be like probably the most universal way that it is rigged. Like if you're just starting out, like you can't go wrong with that way but weight wise, this is the other thing. So if you put this bait on and you cast it out, you're going to just like stare at it and it's just going to sit there and it's not going to float and it's not going to sink. And then you're going to add some weight and you're going to be like 1,000. And then like the little tentacles will be out and then you'll be like 1,000. And then you'll still be able to see it. And it sinks incredibly slow. So the weight seems to be really important. That's the biggest thing that I can't figure out yet is 1/8 ounce, 3/32, 1/4 ounce. It's a very weight sensitive bait from the way I understand it.
Yes, because you want it to sink slow, but then you also want it to sink fast enough to hit the fish in the head. So like, I get it because the fish is moving a lot of times, but I think a good rule of thumb is, if they're, 5 foot down, what I would do would be, I would just start out with a 3/16.
Okay.
And just see if I can keep that in front of a fish first. And then if the fish is not reacting to that, then I'm going to probably change weights, go lighter or go heavier or whatever to try to get the fish to react. We're actually working on a hook that has a clip on it that you can clip any drop shot weight onto the shank of the hook in 2 popular styles of drop shot style hooks for koikes. And Gamakatsu will have those, I'm hoping, later on this year, in which that'll clear up a lot for the guys out there that are having trouble. Another way, when you rig it Jika style, there's kind of 2 different styles. There's one where you're going to rig it on the actual shank of the hook, like you're talking about with the fluorocarbon little keepers.
Mm-hmm.
Some guys are making them. That's going to have a different action than, let's say, if you stick that Jika rig off the eye of the hook. So, that's the other thing. To get that rocking style action, I think you've got to have it more off the eye of the hook, correct?
Yes. Jika rig style.
Yeah,
Yes.
you've got to have it like, when we say Jika rig, we mean off the eye of the hook.
Yes.
The kind that you're going to stick on the shank of the hook is just going to be more of a, just a flat, just go through the water.
Yeah.
Like
Which
that.
is how we saw
Shaking.
Pake South fishing it, where he was casting it out and basically fishing it like a jerk bait for the shallow fish in the timber flats. It seemed like he was pop, 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 and then that fish would just come up and light it up. There was no rocking, there was no motion. It was a very aggressive jerk bait style way that he was fishing it.
Yeah,
You can do that.
yeah.
Okay, so
and that's probably
Go ahead.
because I have not seen his rig. Just so you know, I don't know how he rigged it, but it probably has something to do with the way he was rigging it.
that's a fish that ate it right there on
But
his.
you can't really see the rig.
Yeah, and I thought it was interesting. He had the big one that was hooked in the bottom. Okay, Kazu, here's my question: How does Hideo rig it? The inventor of Hideup, like, what is his primary way of rigging the full cast?
He always recommend to me the wacky style rig. So
Okay.
just no sinker, wacky hook on it, then throw the top water jar.
Really? So his
Yeah.
more of a subsurface topwater, for lack of a better term, wake style instead of getting it down to the fish.
Yes, that's right.
Which goes back to the
Then-
bait ball, where that fish thinks it's a small school or a shoal of bait on the top, to where when you're popping it, it's those fish going shoo, 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 almost like a pop-ar style. So we haven't even seen it fished that way in the United States yet, to my knowledge.
Yeah, but many Japanese and Hideo throw the top water too.
Interesting. Let's go down to the 17 mil then. This one I think is a lot of the guys that I've seen, and what I've seen, this is more of like, this is like the starter version of the Koike. Like, guys feel way more comfortable throwing this, and it's almost always thrown on a spinning rod as opposed to a bait caster.
Both.
You can throw
use
it to both.
Rigged the same way and everything, just basically a smaller version of the full cast.
You would just adjust your weight and adjust the hook to the size of the bait. So on that one, I'm going to say a 3/0 bead hook. That's
Okay.
a good place to start. Or a 2/0 stinger hook is what I would probably use in that, just to start with. I'm seeing a lot of guys rigging them on trebles now. If I was going to rig that on a treble, I would say a a number one or a 1/0 treble. And, you know, that's the thing. Going back to Hideo, he's very creative. There's no really wrong way to rig it. I mean, there is, but there's not. You can rig it a bunch of different ways is what I'm saying.
Okay. You said there is. What are some of the common mistakes in the past 3-4 months since this thing has blown up that you've seen where you're like, oh, that's a poor option?
I'll tell you what the number one thing is. And like we were talking about earlier, not putting your hook through the bait. You're trying to skin hook it like you're skin hooking a worm when you're drop shotting. No, you will never hook a fish that way. You've got to have that hook as exposed as possible. That is the number one mistake. And use a bigger hook than what you think you need.
Size-wise, what would you recommend? Like a 4/0 for?
I'd recommend that fish. Dang. But yeah, that's a FULLCAST fish.
Yeah.
So that being said, I would say on that one, 4/0, 5/0, I mean, that would be what I would use. And, you know, we do have those coming for the FULLCAST, those bigger hooks coming for the FULLCAST. And we also have a new treble that we're working on that will be for this style bait. So we're trying to stay ahead of this trend as much as possible because we are Gamakatsu too. So
yeah,
we know what the guys are using, and we're working on several different hooks for rigging this thing so that, because at the end of the day, we want the anglers to be successful. Like that's what we're both anglers. We're both fishermen. And if something's not working, we're going to figure out a way to make it work.
Mm-hmm. Kazu, this doesn't seem like a bait that everyone was trying to get their hands on and you just happen to know the guy to bring it over. This seems like a bait that Hideo wanted to bring over and you took a flyer on, you took a chance on, because to my knowledge, unless I was living under a rock, there wasn't a huge demand for these when they first arrived in the United States. I mean, did these things sit on your shelf for a year before?
No.
So I was living under a rock.
Yeah, a little bit. It was in some circles. It was kind of a secret deal. And I don't know if I want to divulge this, but at Smith Lake 2 years ago, a certain Japanese angler won a tournament there. And if you look in the mouth of about a 5-pound spot, you'll see one of those.
Okay, why didn't it blow up then? Why didn't all of the American anglers who are so quick to jump on every trend go, all right, we want this thing?
You know how you're talking about hiding stuff? He did a really good job.
Really?
Hiding that.
Really?
Yes.
But they were.
Kazu and I called it.
They were still kind of available, though. Like, I mean, you could find them if you wanted them.
Not then. We didn't have them in stock yet. They were only available in Japan. And actually, we looked on eBay looking for some because Kazu and I wanted to fish with them. We looked on eBay, and they were $100 a piece. And we were like, oh, my gosh, this is ridiculous. And then we'd already talked to Hideo, and we had them on order at the time. We just didn't have any yet.
Right.
And we knew it was going to be a big deal at some point in time when guys figured it out. Because like we were talking earlier, there's a little bit of a learning curve there. And a lot of guys were like, oh, man, this thing looks stupid. It's not going to work, blah, 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 blah. But it works.
Okay, so I'm going to pull up this gallery right now. You don't have to confirm or deny. I'm hoping I have the right angler here. But, I mean, listen. This is allegedly. The title of this is Taku's Secret Japanese Baits Review. Look at, so I'm seeing some hard baits. I'm seeing some actual dye, like not the Coike style. I'm seeing some weird turtle looking thing. I'm seeing this thing. I am not seeing. So what you're telling me is he may or may not have left out a secret Japanese bait in that Japanese secret bait gallery. Allegedly, may or may not have. The look on the face says it all. I don't even have to answer.
No comment. Love you, Taku.
Okay, so you guys have a huge pro staff. You've got, Brian New is, that the guy, will try anything. I mean, do you have pro staff guys that have been on this since way before it was quote unquote mainstream?
Not New. New was the only one that really, was on this thing, and we got him some samples as soon as we got them. New has become my resident bait tester for a lot of this stuff because he will try anything and he keeps an open mind. We actually took him to Osaka last year and took him to Hideup, and he caught a big fish out of Biwa and had a really good time. But that being said, you as a company, we have to have guys like that too, that are willing to try. And I will say, all my pro staff is pretty open-minded to trying anything, as far as what we bring over, because it goes back to that competitive edge. They want to have that new secret, that new thing coming. And, that's a lot of it. But, with this bait, it was so off the wall that it wasn't just another rolling minnow, or it wasn't just another, worm or swim bait. It was one of those deals that the guys had to kind of figure it out, see some other guys catch them on it and get confidence.
There's a lot of talk in the industry right now about the impact that professional bass tournaments have. Some people say, oh, it's lost its luster with the forward-facing sonar. No one's watching it. The influencers are more important now. With the win of guys who aren't even on your pro staffs, with that, is this a great example of how top-level professional angling still drives the industry and is still a vital part of big major company success, like a SPRO, like for the Hideup?
Okay, I'll give you a better example. First Bassmaster tournament this year, Gunnersville, no forward-facing sonar. We sold more lipless hard baits in 2 weeks than we sold almost all of last year.
Wow.
Put that in your thing. And the fact that somebody wants to say that professional bass fishing tournaments don't have an impact, they do. To an extent, they do. So I will say, yes, they do have a somewhat large impact of getting the word out, especially on, like, let's say the Coike. It really pays a large thing of getting the word out to the masses. And let's put it this way. I mean, the guys that are fishing, you're pulling up pictures. I love it. You need to find the 5-pounders, the one you need to find. Yeah. But the guys that are fishing it's not just the guys fishing at that top level. It's the guys that are fishing a tournament on that lake that might be fishing the Tuesday night bass fishing tournament. So if they see that the Elite Series was there 2 weeks before, catching them on a lipless crankbait, then they're more than likely willing to go out and throw that lipless crankbait at their next Tuesday night bass tournament. So I think that has a lot to do with it too.
Yeah, Giovanni Blaze saying that Emil and Fisher were pretty vocal and obvious about using the bait on it. Let's talk about non-forward facing applications on this. The way, Kazu, that you kind of described that Hideup founder Hideo Yoshida fishes it, there's some really cool applications that are coming into for the year. I mean, if you don't have forward facing, if it's not your jam, if you're in floating worm, bluegill spawn, post spawn time of the year, to where this thing may not just be a a look, see, cast, and catch bait, but a real fishing bait, so to speak.
Okay. Kazu and I had this conversation yesterday. Tell me what you told me. What's going on in Japan right now with it?
Yeah, the many Japanese like bank fishermen throw the koike. It's like a blind cast, then catch a big fish and catch many fish. So then we are more focused to the full-facing sonar, but the full-facing sonar available bait is we can cast to the blind cast. Like a regular using is no problem.
Okay.
So you could throw it, you could skip docks with it, basically, is what we're saying.
Yes.
You could do other techniques with it. You don't have to use forward facing. It's, you can catch fish on a minute without using forward facing too. So that's
that happened at Gunnersville. All right, this is a great question. I was going to bring it up. Chuck Smith said, how many fish can I expect to catch on it before it's screwed up? All right, I was at the tackle store. Like I said, I got some of these, but Syd, you've known me a long time. Planning ahead is not always my strong suit. So I wanted to make sure that I had some of these. So I spent $21.99 on a single 17 millimeter Coike ball. And I'm going, my God, $21 for one plastic bait. That being said, having fish said one elastomer bait at Rayburn, I feel like there is an indefinite lifespan on these things unless you break them off.
Pretty much. You're going to break that thing off before you wear it out. And it's because of the material. The material is a little harder elastomer. If it was softer, of course, you'd rip it. You're not going to rip that bait. More than likely, you're going to destroy that bait. You're not going to destroy that bait. You're going to
tentacles can't rip off. The bait doesn't rip on it. It's not. I think what everyone's thinking, if you haven't put your hands on these, is that it's that 3X plastic, the minnows that you can stretch. It is not like that at all. It's a new. What did you call it? What kind of plastic?
It's an elastomer-based plastic, is what it is.
Okay.
And don't mix it with your regular worms.
It'll do the same thing as.
It'll do the same thing.
Do you guys want to see a cool video?
Go for it.
All right. This may or may not be Smith. I can't believe I never caught this. Here it is. This appears to be a 5-pound spotted bass. We're going to have to pause it at the right. Oh, did you see it? Watch this. Block. Boom. Chucks the bait out to the side. That was wild. Watch. You'll see it right here. It's gonna flop out of his mouth here in a second. You're gonna get a quick little glimpse. Boom, right there. There it is. Then he does the camera block and the quick chuck. Here comes the quick chuck. Boom. God. My God. Like a true ninja. And then leaves it out of the secret Japanese bait gallery. That is a great catch. Did anyone else catch that? Like, did you have people that were like, hey, we want this thing because he didn't put it in the gallery, which means it must be the juice.
Out of respect for Taku, we didn't say anything for a long time.
I hope I'm not throwing Taku under the bus for this. I love Taku. I don't know him very well.
Yeah,
will he be upset that I'm doing this?
We can say stuff about it now. It doesn't matter now. It doesn't matter. It does. I mean, it's already out of the bag. But that's what it was.
Interesting. How hard are these things to get right now? What is the distribution like? Like, okay, I know. So I put the link for SPRO's website that has it. Also put the link for OMNIA that also carries it. I know all of the other major things carry it. You can go in the tackle shops and carry it. So what you're saying basically is every Coike in the country goes through Kennesaw, goes through SPRO, and then you guys distribute it from there. Is this going to be a Sakamata shad type deal where it's like, hey, we're going to pour 5-inchers once a year and we're going to pour 8 packs of them, and when they're gone, they're gone? Or is there the capability to actually make enough to where if guys want to try these things, they don't have to sell their firstborn to purchase one on eBay?
We're trying to scale right now. We've been working on that for the last 6 months, actually. Yeah. We saw this coming. Unfortunately, this is a small manufacturer with a limited scalability right now.
Well, like, how small are we talking about? Are there like, is it like Hideo, his wife, and his buddy out of the garage? Is it is it like 20 employees? Like, how big of a company is Hideup right here?
There's an office in at Lake Biwa. We've been to it several times now, and he does have an operation over there. It's just the operations in Japan are ran very different than the operations here in the United States. They're a very well-established brand in Japan. You go into Fishing Aid or you go into Boon Boon, dude, or Bun Bun, whatever you want to call it, but it's really Boon Boon.
I've been to those. Those are fantastic tackle stores over in Japan. So, like,
you
totally.
go in there are walls of Hideup stuff in that store. So he's been supplying a lot of the Japanese business, but then he's got to supply both that and us now, and the American side is a lot bigger, so there's going to be some a little bit of growing pains. We're working on that right now, and Kazu's got a pretty good handle of it right now, and hopefully we'll see some better delivery. I know as of right now, we are sold out of all 17s. There are no 17s to be had until we get our next shipment, which is relatively soon. I don't want to give any dates, but it's relatively soon. And then we have, there's been very few FULLCASTs that are still left in stock. Very few, like they're pretty much gone. And 13s are pretty much gone too. So really, I mean, we've sold through basically what we thought was a year supply in 3 weeks?
3 weeks.
Yeah.
Yes.
So, it's been extreme. We're extremely blessed to have that, but it's tough.
All right, I'm on the website. I know you guys have business meetings that you need to attend
but we
to.
are getting some more.
Oh, sorry, you froze up on me there for a brief second. Are they froze up now? Yeah, they're froze up. All right. Oh, you back? Can you hear me?
I'm back.
Okay, sorry.
Yes.
Yes. I was going to take a break, but you saved it. All right, I want to go to this. I know you guys have an important business meeting that you need to attend to. It's to put Coikes in every bait store in America, and let's go through some of this other stuff. I'm on the SPRO website, so here's what I see, and I've got these because I got them at the media event. I still don't know how to fish the damn things. There's shrimps. There's thunders. There's elastomer Coike fish, which is like the Coike ball except with chunkier things. And then there's also you got the Judy fish, which is out with it. And then you can talk about I don't care if I get in trouble on it. You've got like a Coike, but it's like fish attached to the ball. There's all sorts of all this different stuff that is coming out. Are these all things that are going to be mainstream fished in variety of ways to where you're just going to have like, is Coike going to just become like an entire category of baits then?
We hope so. I mean, if you look at it, if you look back, the Senko is the Senko. We're hoping this bait, when somebody talks about what you said, an urchin or spiky bait, we're hoping everybody just calls them a Coike. That's I hope, but we'll see. And you brought up that shrimp right there. It's actually kind of funny when Drew Cook was fishing up north. He's going to kill me for this, but he was throwing that up north for smallmouth, and he pans over to, like, we were talking on live, and he pans over to the bottom of his boat. He's got like 50 of those things dead on the bottom of his boat. He's caught so many daggum fish on it. So that's really a sleeper bait. I think everybody's focused on the regular Coike right now, but that's a really good bait too. It has a very subtle action. You can drop shot it. One of my favorite ways to fish it is on a swing head. I've caught them on our little local lake, Altoona, on a swing head with a green pumpkin one. So it's it's a versatile bait. You could also peel a couple of those little spikes off of it and fish it like a Ned rig. Mm-hmm. I know people that do that with the smaller version. So it is a very versatile bait. Let's go back to the Thunder. This is the sleeper, in my opinion, of what's available right now. Yes. The Coike Thunder would be the thing that I would say, hey, look, if you can't get your hands on the Coike, try the Thunder. What makes the Thunder kind of a little bit more unique is you can wacky rig it, or you can Texas rig it and fish it in cover.
Yep.
So, you know,
this is the Thunder, right?
No, this is a fish.
This is a fish.
Oh, well, you should have said something about that.
Well, hey,
this is all new to me, Syd.
Come on, man.
I know. That's why I had you on. I'm like, we're going to learn about it. Okay, this makes a lot more sense. Okay, keep going on the Thunder.
All right, so the Thunder, you can even Neko rig it and stick a weight in it. Drop shot it, in which it gives you the ability to be able to rig it weedless. And that's been the one. It's a little newer bait for us. The Coike came out first for us. The Thunder was kind of new. We just got them like a month and a half ago. This is one that we do have stock of that will sell. It's a good bait. I think the guys that are especially fishing for largemouth, I think it's a really good bait for largemouth, big spots. And like I was saying, you can Texas rig that, and I think your hookup ratio will be a little better with that versus with a regular Coike.
Yeah.
So and this almost to me seems like a starter Coike.
Yeah, maybe.
Like if you're still a little bit on the fence, like maybe start out with a Thunder or two and then work your way up to the ball.
Yeah. And it's got a little different action. And it's gonna be better. I mean, that's a great bait for skipping around docks.
Flipping.
Flipping. Yep. You can flip that. You can do a bunch of different stuff with that.
And dragging the bottom, the Texas rig. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Yeah, that was the other thing I was asked. So like, you don't hear about anybody fishing that Coike on the bottom, like putting like a 3/8 or a 1/2 ounce weight and shaking it on the bottom. But we're also just getting into spawning season, so God knows.
Hey, they do it in Japan. That's the first time I went to Japan and fished with the guys at Biwa. We were sticking like like the Gamakatsu little swing head weight.
Yep.
We were sticking swing head weights on hooks and dragging them on the bottom because it was really cold. It was 35 degrees blowing 40 miles an hour the first time I fished Biwa. So yeah, with the Hideup guys. So that's the way we were fishing it.
Okay, last couple questions, and then I'll let you guys go. I greatly appreciate the time. I know this kind of came together. I had called you on a Sunday evening and said, hey, let's strike while the iron is hot, and you said absolutely. So you're actually at can I say where you're at or no?
We're in Arkansas. Don't say where we're at.
Okay.
Yeah.
Color-wise, this has been befuddling to a lot of people. So there's some places where it's like, oh, you can get certain colors of the Coike and other colors. Walk me through. Does color matter on this thing? I mean, there's a wide array of like white, clear, green pumpkin, scuppernong, clear pink, brown, green, chartreuse. There's all this stuff. Like, how important is color on your Coike?
So we are talking with the color wise with the Hideup people. So they are told me some color selection method. Okay. Like green pumpkin is good for any kind of the water, but the scuppernong or the reddish that everybody throw in Japan is hot summertime or currently now, like the springtime bait. Then the yellow, like a chartreuse-ish, this is good for the like a smallmouth bass And in here, that's good for the spotted bass.
Yeah, Syd probably didn't want you to say that.
Yeah. Then
Syd fishes
you
with
fish some more clear lake. Like
look how quiet Syd is now. He's just looking down. He's like, get off of that chartreuse color. Just move on.
So you fish the more clear lake, you can use more the Tamarambai blue or the clear salmon pepper, like more the light color-ish. Yes.
Have you seen a bait blow up this fast before in all your time?
I will say my first year is when the frog hit at SPRO. That tells you how old I am and how long I've been here. I was 24 at the time, by the way, which that was a long time ago.
Yeah, that's wild.
Yeah, but that hit pretty hard like this one did. This one is blowing up as much or more than that one was. So, yeah, so this has been remarkable.
Does that elastomer die? Can you dye the elastomer, or is it kind of like that, the Laztec stuff?
I would say don't stick it in a bottle of JJ's Magic. The only thing that I've seen that's kind of worked is like a marker, like the little spike it style marker type deals. I've seen some guys coloring the tips of them and stuff. I personally try to stay away from it. That a guy did a video that was awesome. I don't know if anybody else has seen it, where he basically ruins his kitchen table by doing it. I suggest you look that one up. Dave Rush sent it to me. Okay. It's really funny.
I'll tell you what.
But I wouldn't suggest it.
There's the man, the myth, the legend himself right here, who actually dropped a Coike video like the day after he announced he wasn't fishing the Elite Series anymore because he didn't care. He wasn't trying to keep it secret. He said, stop thinking about how the bait looks and start thinking about how the bait moves.
Hey, great job, Ben. That's exactly right.
Clint Bartlett, he's caught a few. He's a linear fella. You know Clint?
Clint who?
Clint Bartlett.
Yeah, I know who he is.
Good dude.
Know the name.
All right. Did I leave anything out? Anything, Kazu, Syd, anything that you were just hoping that we would get to? Are there any key points, elements to this that we haven't covered? I was just trying to get a good overview of this bait, the history of it, how it blew up, how to fish it, where to fish it, what it is, the different applications. I feel like I learned a lot. Hopefully the listeners learned a lot too. Anything else that is key that we need to make sure we get in here?
Well, I mean, I think the main thing is, just be on the lookout. We have Hideo's got some more shapes that he's working on right now. Actually, when we were at Lake Biwa, we were fishing with one of the new shapes, and our boy James Hall from Bassmaster caught about a 773 on a new shape, new style Coike. So be on the lookout. It is more that ball shape Coike. It's got some new little appendages on it that move a lot of water, and I think it's going to be a good seller also.
The thing that scares me is, since this works, okay, for years and years and years, you could be like, that's a sucker bait. And it was. You could like have guys that would get in the back of your boat and you'd be like, oh, I don't have to worry about him. What this does is it messes with your, I don't want to get too deep here. It's not that deep. It messes with your sense of like reality perception of how you perceive things, right? So you go into and you look at all of this stuff and you gravitate towards things that you know are going to catch fish. And occasionally you'll try something new. What this thing does to me is it completely shatters my sense of perception as to what catches bass and what doesn't. And it opens up so many more doors to where you're almost paranoid now that you're going to miss the next thing. And as fast as the cycle moves, now you're like I got some stuff in Japan that are literally action figures in soft plastic. I got to try fishing them now. I mean, they're shaped like Robo-Man and stuff, but there's all sorts of you see what I'm saying? This like changes my perception of what a quote good bass bait is. Like a rock crawler looks like a crayfish. A SPRO frog looks like either a frog or a shad. A Little John looks like like all of the stuff looks like it. This tells me that there's a bunch of creative, interesting things out there that freaking work. And we're just closed-minded as a whole in bass fishing.
I think you're right. I think we got to think about what the fish sees. And that's the genius of Hideo, is the fact that he's thinking about what the fish is seeing. And it may not be exactly what we think the fish is seeing. So he's very smart. He's very creative. And that, I think a lot of that goes back to how hard bass fishing is in Japan now. Mm-hmm. They have to be creative. Let me tell you, I fished for 4 days this last year at Lake Biwa, and I've caught 2 fish all day long. And, you know, I've also, this last trip, we fished 4 boats, two guys on each boat, and we caught 2 fish in 2 days of fishing. And these are all guys that can fish. I also took Brian New over there. We fished for 2 full days with Brian New. He caught a fish on his last cast the last day at 4 o'clock. And he fished all day long on Biwa. It was an 8-pounder. But that being said, it's because they have to be creative. And I think that's why you're seeing all these techniques coming out of Japan too.
One more thing before I let you go. I said, I dropped the Rayburn video, I got my hands on the Nori's. I can't remember the name of it. It's not the aging bass liquid. It's the USA version of the liquid. What is that called?
Yeah, we're calling it Bite Liquid.
Bite Liquid. Soaked the stuff in it for 2 weeks. Absolutely hideous. Then 3 days before the tournament, took it out, shook it up like it was a crappie fillet in the bite powder. I'm kind of sold on it. I'm not going to lie. Like, I feel like my commit ratio was actually higher on it. And it was the only bait that I've ever used. This is not a sales pitch. I would not have said this if it didn't work, because I paid full price for all this stuff. It's not like I said, hey, Syd, send me some of this stuff for free and I'll talk it up. It was the only bait where at the end of the day, I had a pile of minnows in the bottom, and I like grabbed them and I got it like right here. And I was like, oh my God, like they still, and I was like, and I only soaked them for like a week and then put the powder on them for 2 days. I think as this stuff gets more and more pressured and you see more and more guys who are dialed in and in tune on it, I think there's something to it. I don't know. I go back and forth on it. Like, you read that Bass Biola, the book that the dude who created Power Bait wrote about it. And then you talk to other guys, and then you go fishing with guys who are like, no, I like chain smoke cigarettes and put gas on my hands and still catch 20 pounds. But dude, it's an interesting process, but there's something to that Nori's bite powder and the bite juice.
I think anything you can do to give yourself an edge, whether it's real or in your head, is a positive. We've got to think about this as, preparing. You're preparing to catch fish, and that's what this stuff does. So let's talk about liquid and powder really quick. So the liquid basically is what soaks into the bait. Then you stick that powder on there after that, and it creates, as Taku would say, like a skin on the top of the bait. So that powder is coming off the bait where the liquid is inside the bait. So it really kind of creates a combo, and it makes it where that powder can really stay on that bait. So that is the benefit of the liquid and the powder system.
It is Yeah, it is definitely a system. Do you have the liquid on the website? I didn't see the liquid on the website.
I do not, because I'm sold out of it.
That's what here. I don't even.
We've got more coming.
What website that is? That's what it looks
refill.
like right there. Bait liquid. Now I'll never know. Like he's probably got like liquid XL that he's hiding when he does it now. Taku, you know how he is. Hide the damn baits.
He's the man.
Interesting. I enjoyed the heck out of it. I learned a lot. Some of the ones that I learned the most about, whether it's about batteries or fishing line or baits or whatever it is where I just ask dumb questions that I don't know that I want to know. This is a conversation that I would have called you guys and said, tell me all this stuff because I want to know it. So I'm glad that we were able to have it live. Over 350 people watching it live throughout the entire time. And then, this is, like I said, this is not one of those Sakamata Shad deals where like every 6 months, one ship will come over from Japan with 7 bags on it. Like if it's out, just kind of keep track of where your favorite place to shop is. You can do it on the SPRO. Like I said, Omnia will get them, Tackle Warehouse. You guys distributed it throughout the country, but they will consistently be being restocked. So it's not like, hey, check back in June.
We hope not.
That's right. Yeah.
We hope not. You know, we've got to get this stuff. We've got a bunch more on the way.
Kazu, what's your next big fishing trip?
I don't know. So far, no trouble.
You don't have any slow pitch trips lined up?
No, we don't have any slow pitch right now. It's too cold, man. We got to wait till May or June before we start jigging. No, that's the thing. We were completely. It's after turkey season because we got to go turkey hunting first, and then we'll go saltwater fishing. Okay. So here's our thing. We bass fish close to home this time of year, or at Lake Biwa because we have to be over there. And then we bass fish from now until about the end of March. Then we turkey hunt for like 2 weeks. And then we bass fishing again. And then we start saltwater fishing. Yeah. So we have a whole progression. We have a long range trip coming up in May. Then we have Syd Rives coming up in September. And so those are kind of the bookends. And then we'll splash some Florida trips in there.
Will you guys be at the Classic? Will there be any Coikes at the Classic?
Big brand. We're dropping a brand. Can I tell them?
Yep. Yes.
Okay. So we are bringing in another brand now. It's called D-Style. So we have D-Style coming in the United States. We're dropping that at the Classic. It will only be available for purchase at the Classic, limited quantities at our booth. We'll also have some shipments coming in later. So the other retailers will start having it Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday.
Oh, no. It's the same thing. It's got frills. It's got Mido style shapes.
Yes.
It's got interesting stuff that we have. Oh, here we go again.
Gila Khan. Yeah. That's all I got to say. Yes. Gila Khan. Just wait.
Oh, some of this
and B-Rolla.
Yep. Is wild.
So we have a whole nother shipment, coming, and we're going to start the launch. Hell, you just heard it here first, bro. So
is this it? Can I flash it up? I think I found it. Can I flash it?
You can flash. Yeah,
go ahead.
That?
I can't see it yet.
Yes.
That's it.
All right, I got it.
It's elastomer. It's elastomer too, by the way.
All right. Have fun.
All right. See you guys. Thank you, everybody that watched. We appreciate it.
Yeah, thank you.
Kazu, Syd, right. Have fun. See ya.
All right, man. We'll see you, man.
All right, we need to take a break so I can gather my wits about me. When we come back, we have a lot of things to talk about. Like I said, we're going to talk about Takahiro. We're going to talk a little bit more about this Pig South win. Also, starting in 8 days, the BTL for St. Jude online tournament. 100% of the proceeds go to benefit St. Judes, the goal is to hit $10,000. We're already like 15-20% of the way there. Announced it with Tom Brubaker. We're going to be doing weekly updates for that. I will tell you guys how you can get involved with that. It's only $25 entry fee through Fishing Chaos. You're measuring, you're releasing your fish, you're putting it in online for some great prizes from BTL sponsors. We'll talk more about that. But we're going to take our first and probably only break of the show. We'll be back. It's BTL on a Monday right after this.
The new Puma STS has been redesigned from the ground up. With the angler, design, function, and performance in mind, nothing on this new offering was compromised, and the only thing carried over from the previous version is the name. Based on the Soft Touch series hull that started with the flagship Jaguar, this new model is nimble and performs incredibly well at all speeds with either a 250 or 300 horsepower engine. Featuring a new 96-inch wide-body footprint, this hull measures out at 20 foot 7 inches in length. Industry-leading design coupled with tournament-winning performance. The Puma STS from Basscat. Feel the rush.
Before there were hashtags, there were handshakes and shared stories. They gave us confidence to make our first cast, to chase our dreams. They taught us to fish, and in the process, taught us about life. They taught us that success isn't just about reaching the top. It's about lifting others up. The future isn't just about selling tackle. It's about 3 simple words. Let's go fishing. Here's to the original influencers.
As a professional angler, there's only one thing that connects you to your paycheck. Probably the most crucial part to tournament bass fishing. I use Sunline because they have a line for every application. Shooter, FX2, All Might, super light line, big stuff, big sticks. Sunline has you covered.
Sharp as can be. Super strong, super durable.
Really good penetration.
Thinner and stronger.
Catch fish after fish.
I want to make sure that I'm using the best stuff possible.
World's finest hook.
World's finest hook.
Gamakatsu. World's finest hook.
When I'm in a tournament, conditions are constantly changing and every second matters. With the Deep Dive app, I can instantly pull up all the current lake conditions all in one spot. So no more looking at weird government websites. In just one quick glance, I have water clarity, water level, wave forecast. It's all right there in the Deep Dive app. Download the Deep Dive app and get all the tools you need to put together an awesome tournament.
All right, welcome back, BTL. Okay, I'm going to be honest here. I have not gone back through and done like as much homework as I normally do. Just mainly because I got back on Saturday from the Bassmaster Open. It was the first Open of the year, and then spent yesterday working on the video, getting ready for today's show and building it. But I have had a chance to take a peek at it, not as deep dive as I would like to. I would love to get him on the show. Have not had him on the show since I took it over, and that is one Takahiro Omori, who won on Lake Hartwell without forward-facing sonar. One of the things that I thought was crazy interesting is in this game, you talk so much about the mental aspect of it and being in the right headspace and believing that you can win. And you talk to guys who've won once or twice, and they talk about how it kind of gets them over the hump and they're able to envision themselves winning. And you talk to guys who talk about always having look at Swindle, look at Polinick, look at KVD, look at these guys. Like they're all about positive energy, positive mental energy. And then you have like a guy who wins like Takahiro, and then like the other, like the little devil on the shoulder, like the angel's like, oh yeah, work on your positive mental game. And then the devil's like, it doesn't matter. If it's your time, it's your time. You can be the most grumpiest person ever. You can think bad thoughts and you can still win if it's your time. And it's weird because if you look at the article that Takahiro won, where he beat Jacob Walker, he actually beat Bank Shaw and Jacob Wheeler in the final rounds too, which is a feat in itself on their Wheeler's last decade and a half, and Bank Shaw's last 3 years. But I'll read a section of this article that kind of piqued my interest. It says the angler, best known for exclaiming, "I knew it," after he caught the winning fish in the 2004 Bassmaster Classic, which is a testament to manifestation and positive attitude leading to life-changing results. I knew it when he picked up the crankbait, when he had the 3 choke it, when he came in, he said, "I knew it." I mean, he like manifested the classic win. After he caught the winning fish of the 2004 Bassmaster Classic, admitted that he didn't anticipate being able to contend on Hartwell while sticking in his power fishing wheelhouse, much less earning his long-awaited first BPT win. "To be honest, I had no motivation to come here. I thought I was coming here to get beat by the spotted bass." So here's a guy with probably the most positive mental attitude manifestation win in bass fishing history, who gets his first BPT win, going in thinking that he was about to get his butt kicked, but that he was going to stick with power fishing. And he ended up, I think he was up to Tougaloo the entire time. And I mean, it wasn't like a slugfest, but it also wasn't like a super grinder tournament. We do know now that Drew Gill will not win every single tournament that he fishes in 2026. Congratulations for him getting all the way though through February 23rd until he got to that point. And then also I want to talk a little bit about the Pig South. So I fished that tournament. There are definitely 2 tournaments in the opens. There are the guys who understood that the fish had moved or were in the process of moving, and they knew where to go look for those fish. And then there are other guys. There was like 200 or 180 guys that were in various degrees of dialed in, but were relying on a big bite a day in order to finish in that top 40 and cash a check. I knew after practice I wasn't on the mega bags, but when you're on Sam Rayburn and the water's going from 55 to 60 and it's incredibly stable and you're seeing the things that you're seeing and you know what lives in that lake, like you know that a freak show is about to go down, whether it's 1 or 2 guys at the top, whether it's 10 guys at the top. It was amazing how many guys were dialed in a variety. You had minnows, you had deep cranking, you had the big dice style bait, the koikes in the spawning and pre-spawn areas. You had some flipping, you had a lot of stuff going on. There were a lot of fish that were caught scope and timber, deeper timber for pre-spawn fish in that. But this was one of the few events where I really was looking forward to watching live because I'd been on the water. I knew I could catch a bunch of fish. I had a decent tournament. I finished in the top third of the field, did not contend for the win, did not make adjustments shallow enough, had never been on Rayburn during a time when the fish were transitioning. So, I mean, that was bad on my part going into that tournament, fishing a dying pattern. I was also proud of myself that I was able to make that adjustment. If you watch the video that I just posted, it's called like the Slugfest on Rayburn. Made a decision. I caught a fish early on day 2. I said, oh my gosh, they're transitioning shallow. I put everything up. I went shallow, caught a couple big fish that salvaged that tournament for me, got me good points, actually like 62nd in the EQs where the top 50 make it. So, typically when that happens, I'm not like thrilled to watch the live coverage the following day just to really let it sink in how bad I got my ass beat. But for this one, I was like, I cannot wait to see how this goes down. Like I wanted to see where Andrew Benke was cranking him and how he was cranking him. Cause once that, that tournament was over on that second day, you go back cause you're not allowed to like really dive into any of the photo galleries or anything. So basically what Bass doesn't want you to do is to be like, oh, I didn't catch him. And then go look at how the leaders caught him. So afterwards I look and I'm out of the tournament and I'm like, oh, tomorrow's going to be dynamite. You got guys up shallow. You got Benke who's just got plugs sticking out of 10-pounders mouths. You got different types of stuff. I had talked with Colin Crawford. I knew he was chucking a minnow the majority of the time. I talked with him during the tournament, and that was some really, really good coverage from Bassmaster to have the drone above with Pake South, the way he was catching them. Really impressive young man, the way he handled it. He was coming off of a top 10 at Martin his rookie season on the Bassmaster Elite Series, kind of one of those groups along with Fisher and I, who also made the top 10. But just the way, great coverage, Banky, Pake, all the guys talked really well. It was a forward-facing sonar-heavy tournament, but I also think that is what made it exciting. There were guys who talked. They were catching big fish. There still would have been big fish caught without it, just not nearly as many. It would have been more kind of like a Gunnersville style. But it was awesome to see I guess the word is alternative scoping, to see the different ways when those fish get up shallower, like skill scoping. It's not just open water, abyss, chuck it a fish, get it to bite, get it to follow it. There's a real art as far as getting your stuff dialed in and making accurate casts in 4 to 6 foot of water with fish 40 to 50 feet away, and being able to see the interaction between the fish and the bait and the way that he worked it and the way that he was fighting it and things like that and what he was noticing. Like, I thought that the FFS really aided and it really allowed Rayburn to shine. And I thought it was fantastic coverage. As a guy who was watching it, slightly salty that I missed that bite was out there. And I will say it is, I caught that 5.5 on day 2, scoping a Nico in like 4 foot of water. It's way, way tougher to do it properly than 99% of people give you credit for, especially in that shallower water. The reason it looks easy is because these guys are so good at it. If you just took 30 random people and put them on ice skates, you would think hockey is impossible to play. But when everybody is an elite skater, everybody is an elite stick handler, and you just watch it, you go, oh, ice skating is easy. It's the exact same with this. It's the exact same with the utilization and different aspects of forward-facing sonar usage. It's not easy. Like, to differentiate between, to find the areas where the bass are and not the rough fish are, to make the precise cast with the 0 degrees, 50 foot, where you have zero, you have no margin of error in that shallow water. That fish doesn't have 10 feet to interact. I was talking with Matt Steffen about this. That fish doesn't have 10 feet to interact as the bait's falling down. You don't have time to adjust. Like, you're either on it or you're not. You get it. There's just a split second for that fish to commit. It was really cool stuff. So, Banky, tomorrow we're going to talk about his 12 pounders. It's kind of a funny story there. So he's good buddies with Laker Howell, and before Laker won on Leech, I said, hey man, I'll get you on BTL, blah, blah, blah. Then he wins. And I'm like, oh, well, now you can be on BTL. So I talked to Andrew, said, hey, after Rayburn, I want to get you on BTL. Cool. Dialed in. Let's do it. And then he goes out and almost wins the tournament, catches multiple 10 pounders, multiple 30-pound bags. So there might be something to that. And then Thursday afternoon, we got Frank on Thursday. Then Thursday afternoon, Austin Cranford, Elite Series rookie. Not a great derby to kick off his Elite Series career on Gunnersville. Good rebound derby on Lake Martin in the Bassmaster Elite Series. He is going to have clips from those tournaments, similar to like we've done with rookies in the past. We're going to play those clips, and he's going to walk us through his first 2 Elite Series stops. Okay, one more thing. I almost forgot about it. The Fishing Chaos BTL tournament supporting St. Jude. I've talked about this for months. This thing is live on the Fishing Chaos website, fishingchaos.com. This is an online tournament. It is your 5 longest fish. You can fish from March 1st through April 15th. If you catch all 5 on March 2nd, whatever your 5 longest are, public body of water, artificial lures only. It's split into 3 regions, the big 3 region, Texas, California, Florida, a north region, a south region. I realize some of you guys up in the north may not have as much time as the guys in the south with open water, but it's a $25 entry fee. I know there's a lot of BTL listeners who are not familiar, comfortable, have any desire to fish an online tournament that involves measuring a largemouth bass or a smallmouth bass or a spotted bass for the lake. I was in the same boat until I did it. I tried it. It took me 3 fish to get used to. I downloaded the app on my cell phone and I said, okay, this is a great way to bring the BTL community together and a unique way to raise money for St. Jude that'll go directly to the Dick Hiley St. Jude Bass Classic. Fishing Chaos is hooked up with St. Jude. They deal with all of the entry fees. AFCO, Sunline, Strike King, Lose, Gamakatsu, SPRO, all in on the prizes. There's a weekly big bass prize, and then the top 3 overall in each 3 divisions get a prize. This is something, if you are going fishing between now and April 15th, it's basically an ask. Jump on Fishing Chaos, sign up for $25, measure it, submit it. All of the rules are on there. They've weighed in hundreds of thousands of fish on Fishing Chaos. Working with Tom Brubaker. I'm going to get Brubaker on hopefully Wednesday to go about it. Before we did an entire show with Brubaker last month. You can go back. You can search that up in Google. The BTL Bass Challenge benefiting St. Jude. If you go to the Fishing Chaos, if you're on a PC or on your phone and you log in, there it is. It's going to say featured. And then you just scroll over to the BTL Bass Challenge. There's rules. And literally any question that you have talks about enrollment, how to measure it, how much it is, longest fish, total prize, $250 cash for first, plus $500 prize pack, $300 prize pack, and a $200 prize pack for second. The weekly Big Bass gift cards is going to be, so if you that week in each of your division catch the longest bass, which is submitted first, I believe, a $25 AFCO code. You don't have to wait for me to send you anything like that. It'll just get emailed to you for that. So there's your entry fee back on that. You can talk about all the details, the tournament dashboard. There's the northern region, the southern region, the 3 regions. We're going to have the leaders on BTL. We're going to have the prizes for each guy. The goal here is to fish, to have fun. If you're fishing local tournaments, if you're fishing with buddies, sign up for this $25. 100% of it goes directly to benefit St. Jude. We're already, I think, over at $1,500 in entries, and it doesn't start. Here's why it's important. You can fish anytime from March 1st through April 15th. Ticket sales end on the 13th. But it's $25 and have at it. If you have any questions, you can shoot me an email, matt@basson.com. You can slide into the DMs at Matt Pangrac on Instagram, but super easy. Talks about which measuring boards and stuff. Most of the guys have measuring boards that are, I think, like 18 or 20 inches. I would suggest you need to get a longer one because you have to measure it. There's catch boards and things like that on there. I happen to have like a 25-inch golden rule that I got. So if you have any questions, feel free to let me know. But my goal is to get up to $10,000 for guys to fish instead of just donating directly to it. This kind of gives you something to do. And plus, it's really cool once you're in it. Like if you're fishing a local club tournament in March, you can actually measure that fish, submit it on the Fishing Chaos app. There's also other tournaments that are on here. You can jump in. Bill Dance's tournament that has it. You can jump in. Oh, the Strike King road to the opens, which is really cool what they're doing. They're doing a deal in the regions, and the winners get a paid spot in the Bassmaster Open. So the cool thing about this is just when you're signed up, when you understand how it works on Fishing Chaos, you can jump in more than one. Most of them are really low entry fees, 10, 20, 30, $40 on that. So really you can submit fish to multiple ones, but there it is right there. The BTL challenge. A lot of work has gone into this. Said I'll have Tom Brubaker on here to describe it. So this little thing here, it says the identifier will be ready in 5 days. This is how you do this tournament then. So when you catch one, you have it'll be like ABC 1, 2, 3. So you'll have like a little thing that says ABC 1, 2, 3. You take a picture of your fish on the bump board, left to right, with your identifier in there. And then they actually have AI software that goes through that makes sure it's not the same fish over and over, that has like satellite roughly to make sure you're on a public body of water, that type of stuff. All right, I bantered. Long bantering there. If you want to check out some on the water, I have not done any on the water stuff outside of crappie, which I have to edit crappie as soon as I'm done with this show for CTL. But the Rayburn video 2 days after, it's very relevant. It's out. It's 25 minutes of the Bassmaster Open. And big shout out to Kazu and Syd for jumping on and talking all things Coike. I'm sure I'll get a couple like, bro, you don't have to go that hard on the Coike after this, but I mean, it's freaking out there. I struggle between being like an angler and having buddies talk about like stuff and being like, okay, yeah, no, I'm keeping that on the down low. I want to be able to use it and talk about it behind the scenes and trust that it's not going to get blown up. And then saying, hey, I have access to people that are associated with brands, associated with BTL, and I have the opportunity to educate, entertain, and engage. So this was definitely an educational show. So that's all we got for today. Same time, same place tomorrow. We'll talk to everybody. Then we'll talk about cranking up 12-pounders, Andrew Benke in the Bassmaster Opens to kick off Division 2. That's going to be a good show. We'll talk to everyone later. See ya.